Okay, welcome to another CobraPin Fresh Friday. Today I've got a new version, the version 1.0 of my CobraPin Opto RX and Opto TX boards. So these are intended to go into normal Williams style holders like this. So you can mount them in there. So they've got a little hole here that matches with the nub on these things. And then you can use your screw to mount that. So you can mount them that normal way. The other nice thing about these is that they're completely flat on this side with no electrical connections on that side. So you can actually mount these directly to metal if you wanted. So whether it's metal, 3D printed, something, you just mount it directly to that. Here's a quick little example of a test ramp that I was doing. This just mounted directly to the metal here. So if you're interested, this is for an awesome game called Dark Chaos by Apophis. So check that out. So what's different about this new version versus what I already had? This gets you a little bit more range than the original version, a little more lenience on alignment, although alignment is still very important if you're trying to do maximum range, so making sure that the LEDs are pointed directly at the photodetector. And then the other thing that this gives, I originally designed these specifically for CobraPin controllers, but when people started using them for other control electronics, I found out that they had very limited range on those other platforms because of the way that I had chosen to power it and everything. So I modified it so now it works for all platforms equally. One of the nice things is now you can power this with 5 volts or with 12 volts. Previously I only had a resistor on there for 5 volts, but now it can be 5 or 12, doesn't matter. Plug it in. Another thing to note is somebody requested on the Trident Pinball Discord that you have access to the anode. So before I just had the voltage and the ground, and they said, well, what if I don't want to use your current limiting device and I just want to connect the diode? Well, now you have the anode and the cathode for the diode to connect there. So if you're just connecting 5 volts or 12 volts though, you can leave that center pad empty. That's totally fine. Also, the detector is now good for 5 volts or 12 volts. You do need a power pin on this because I actually have some active devices on this. It actually has a transistor output rather than just the photo transistor there. So you do need ground voltage and your RX line. So again, this voltage can be 5 or 12 volts, totally up to you. So if I was connecting this up to a CobraPin system, for example, I would take the 5 volts from like the LEDs, take the ground from the LEDs, and then connect the RX up to the switch input on the CobraPin. If I was doing another like 12 volt system, then I could connect the 12 volts up to the V here, ground from the 12 volts there, and then put the RX into the switch input normally. So another thing to note about these is the output is inverted compared to my original version. So if you just have these looking at each other and the light is making good contact between them, they are going to be off. It's when the beam is broken that they turn on. So unlike normal optos where they're on when the light is connected, these turn on when the light is broken. So keep that in mind in your Mission Pinball Framework configurations, that these are normal normal switches, not the normally closed switches that you would use for normal optos. So these are inverted. I kind of like that because then you don't have to put that extra little normally closed line in your MPF config. Generally, I recommend 3 inches or less for the range. You can get a little bit more out of them. If you want to get more than 3 inches, I would probably recommend actually having a fixture that's maybe 3D printed or something to line these up really well if you're trying to get more than 3 inches. And again, you're going to have to do your testing if you want to go over 3 inches. All right, so there you have it. New version 1.0 CobraPin Opto TX and RX boards. Hope you enjoy them, and I hope you make some sweet pinball machines. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.